tactical move for Chelsea to be on during the week? What happened there?
Couldn't be a more flawed theory. I think it's probably a bit of a slight on us, to be honest, because it's not something that we do. We pick our team and we go out there and prepare them as best we can, and they go out and play. So, it was a disruption, if anything, for us. Dan Levy got a heck of a shock when I said, Dan, you need to grab that jersey off Pete. Pete, you grab that off CJ. CJ, you grab that off Jamie, because Jamie's just pulled his upper hamstring and isn't able to play. And it was, I don't know if you saw Jamie doing the warm-up, but it was very late in the warm-up when he suddenly stepped aside and the doc had a look at him and then tested him inside, I'd say 5 minutes before kickoff.
What gives you most pride in that performance?
It's a myriad of things, really, to be honest. I think the situation we were in and what was called for to be delivered, we're probably sharing a couple of records now, not ones that we've earned necessarily, but ones that we've been involved in. And to get second in the championship, I think I mentioned last week, would have been something that was incredibly important to us. So to get that is really important. And then the actual performance itself, I thought the first 20 minutes we were really, really good. We put a lot of pressure on them. We played with width. We in difficult conditions. I think even Bestie here threw a reverse pass. He's not sure himself. It slipped out of his hand, but it was just great that they went out and played, and they played with confidence. And I think we've been doing that. We've just, last week we had some real frustrations. We got very close to the line, and penalties were conceded, and then we had to try to build again, and we didn't quite get the results from our driven maul that we would have liked. And probably, the biggest frustration in the championship is maybe that first 30 minutes we played in the championship, and then to get back into that game and get ahead is a reflective frustration. But to be fair to England, what an incredible record! 18 consecutive Test match victories. It's hard enough to get one without putting 18 of them together, and you couldn't say anything other than that they're deserved champions. And while we won tonight, we're envious that they were out there with the silverware at the end of the day.
How do you reflect on this challenge?
I think it'll be frustration. I think Joe's already touched on it. The first 30 minutes wasn't us, and then probably just the Wales game, just those fine margins that we talked about it last week after the game, that they're the stuff that we pride ourselves in winning. And when we win games, we win more of those than we lose, and we just didn't get that last week. But I think tonight was a bit more like us, a bit more like the form we showed in the autumn. And I think it'll be incredibly frustrating when we look back. But I think looking back will be for another day when we get together again. But I think you just have to be hugely proud of the way the boys went. I think Pete coming in late again. It was the Australia game that he came in. Now he had a little bit more time to prepare for that. But to come in just at the end of the warm-up, play the way he did. I think Andrew Conway coming on to win his first cap at half-time. Luke McGrath, that kick at the very end. We know we have a big squad, and we know that we can perform well. I think the frustrating thing is that we just didn't do it pretty consistently enough throughout the championship.
What's the difference in performance levels between this week and last week? Is it the same level of intensity, maybe a bit more accuracy?
Just more accuracy, and obviously in slightly more difficult conditions tonight. We had no roof, so the elements were in, and it was raining at times, and sometimes that light rain is more difficult to control the ball than whenever it's lashing down, because it's wet. It's just our accuracy, and like I say, just those small margins, and not wanting to give up a simple knock on. And we just there was no real time, bar maybe a couple of penalties in a row that we give England, that we ever let the pressure off.
Rory, you said to Mr. Ronaldo at one stage that Joe would give it to you in the neck, which is a high tackle in itself, the late hits and the high shots, but they seem to persist. Was that a frustration for you?
It was. He kept saying that the TMO was keeping an eye on it, but look, I suppose he was saying that his job and his assistants and the TMO is to look after the players, and all I've simply said to him was it's my job as captain to make sure that our players are looked after, and I knew if I didn't try to put a bit of pressure on to look after them that I would be getting it from Joe. I don't think he minds off the pitch if it's a high tackle or not.
Rory, it was directly about Sexton that he was getting targeted, and you felt compelled to say that to the referee.
Yeah, look, key players and key positions. Look, we knew it was a really tough test match, and in really tough test matches you try to be as close to the line as you can be, and yeah, I don't think it was anything other than trying to put pressure on Johnny, but like, we have to look after our players, and key player like Johnny, look, we know we have Paddy, who's performed unbelievably well for us in this championship, but you don't want players going off unnecessarily.
Joe, the referee's view on that, Joe?
I think we'll be reflective. We'll have a look through the game, and we'll reference a few things. I think there probably are a few things, and we referenced a few things from last week as well, a few neck rolls, and I think those things came into vogue, and maybe they've just slipped out of vogue a little bit. Watching a little bit of Super Rugby this morning as well, I thought there were a few high shots, and so I know it's an initiative that is being driven quite hard. So we hope that it continues to be driven hard. At the same time, it's a test match where there is a heck of a lot of intensity, and heights are dropped, and that happens in a split second. It's a little bit like Andrew Conway's tackle on a guy jumping up for a pass. You don't anticipate he's going to jump up for a pass, and Andrew was probably in a heightened state to get forward and shut down what looked like an overlap, and those things happen. I don't think there's any intent in things like that sometimes, but there's a lot of fast-moving moments in a game, so it's hard to get it dead right all the time.
Joe, just again on Jamie Eastwood, is there any early indication on the seriousness of his injury?
No, his I think it was his left leg was down in power. He couldn't fully I suppose propel himself off the ground on that side, and he had a bite. I think it was literally, we were just doing some shield hits toward the end of it, and he stepped out for a moment and spoke to the doc, and the doc came and spoke to me, and I said, look, get him inside and have a look, and you let me know. And I said, and let me know fast, please, because there wasn't a lot of time.
Would a scan be required on that, or is it something that you think that...
Look, again, I defer to the doc. I don't know at this stage.
Rory, five of the guys that came on and 10 caps between them. What's that say about the panel that Joe put together over the last?
Yeah, I think we talked certainly at the end of last season about how we've had to dig deep and we've had to get players' experience in tough circumstances, and we always said that would stand to us. It did in the autumn, and it's nights like this that you have to go to the bench. England emptied their bench and they brought players on, and when you get fresh bodies at this level against sort of reasonably tired bodies, you need your bench. We had to bring a few boys on a bit earlier, but look, I think these sort of performances and being involved in this show them the level you have to get to win in Test match rugby. And I think when you look at how tight that was, 13-9, and we gave everything out there, so that's the level that we have to aspire to every week, and they've now been involved in that, and they'll get a taste of that as they have in other big games. So I think it'll only stand to us in a squad, because like what happened with Jamie at the warm-up, you never know when a little knock, nickel or bang is going to set somebody out, and you always like to have a little bit more time to prepare than 10 minutes or 5 minutes, but that's what you have a squad for.
Joe, is there no better key now?
Keith it was just a really bad whack on the shin, and so it's just bad bone bruising. I don't think that will require a scan, but I might be overstepping my bounds. He was just really struggling to put weight through that shin, that lower limb. So at half time the decision was made that Andrew was fully fit, and he was pretty motivated. I think a lot of people said before the game, you're missing a key player here or there, and I said, yeah, but what an opportunity for this player or that player. And I don't think they let us down. Bestie mentioned Luke McGrath. He came in very late on Thursday after we decided that Connor was too big a risk. And I thought his kick into the corner was unbelievably good. Not just sound tactically, but courage-wise, and then technically to get that accuracy, I thought was spot on. So, I think you've just got to keep investing confidence in them. On the other side of the coin, we kind of felt that England were just getting stronger through the championship, getting guys like Billy Vunipola and Anthony Watson back. And when you've got, talking to Johnny May just after the game, when you've got guys like Johnny May who don't even make your 23, it does go to show that the depth and quality that they've got. And I think it's one of the real strengths in the England set up at the moment. And there are so many strengths. They've got fantastic ball carriers. They've got playmakers. I think they'll continue to get better, unfortunately for us, because they were a whisker away from being better than us tonight, and we really rolled our sleeves up and gave it everything we could.
Rory, what world record-breaking win was sweeter, New Zealand in November or England today?
I think you don't want to pick between those. I think it's like Joe says, it's a record that we have, that we were just fortunate at the team that played them 19th, both teams. So it's not something that we necessarily earned by our own performances. But look, I think they were both good performances, and I think when we look at the game tonight, we knew that England were coming here. Back-to-back Grand Slams is an unbelievable achievement to tee yourself up for that. But it wasn't something that we talked about. We didn't necessarily talk about spoiling parties or anything like this. We talked about producing performance that we can be proud of, and that we can leave. And we felt if we could produce performance, we'd get a result. So, I think credit to them. They're deserving champions. But I don't think I would pick between either of those victories. It was just great to be involved in both of them for different reasons.
Rory, what does it say about Johnny that he knows he's going to be targeted, he does get targeted, and yet he can still pick himself up and produce performances like that?
Look, the guy's a competitor, and I suppose probably the best thing you can say is that I definitely prefer playing with him in Green of Ireland rather than against him when he's playing for Leinster, because he's a bit of a nightmare to play against, and he has a will to win. There's a few out halves in World Rugby have it as well now, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, but he's just a great competitor. He's a great guy to have, and I think as much as anything, what you see on the pitch, that real competitor, that real edge that you need to win tight games and to get over the line in tight games, I think that Johnny off the pitch is a really, really good guy, and the way that him and Jacko certainly learned off him, and the way he is around the team, they're the sort of leaders you want. Like real, hopefully he doesn't read the headline, but real warriors on the pitch, but a really humble, good guy off the pitch.
Eddie Jones said a few minutes ago that he felt the conditions suited a player like Peter O'Mahony better than Jamie Heaslip. Would you agree with that statement?
Jamie is one of our go-tos in the line-out as well. I think Jamie does tend to play with a bit more width when he plays with us within a certain system. So we played with a fair bit of width in the first 20 minutes. So it just suits whatever happens, really. It's certainly, incidental if that's the case. It's a bit like saying Conor Murray. Kieran Marmion might be better suited than Conor Murray, but Conor Murray is a huge leader for us. And last time we did break a record, I think Conor might have been man of the match, and in a freakishly good performance. So, you're always at risk of not having a really good player available to you, and part of the challenge is for a guy like Pete to step up and fill the void. And players are different. Some players are more explosive. Some players carry ball better. Others defend better. Others are more athletic in the air. And for Pete, he did a great job in the air for us tonight. And I thought at the same time, Donica Ryan and Ian Henderson did a great job calling those lineouts. But CJ Stander got a couple of great takes for us as well. So it tends to be shared across the board anyway. I think Pete's vertical leap is impressive, and his ability to get in the air quickly is always an advantage.
Last one.
Would the man beside you be your choice as Lions captain?
My choice doesn't count for anything, so I don't really express it, to be honest. I'm incredibly proud of him and the way he leads the team and the way he performs on the pitch, and I'm delighted that he's our leader.
Okay, guys, we'll leave it there.
Jeez, I nearly choked on him.